In the beginning, as was said of old, the earth was without form and void. There was no life anywhere under the canopy of hot vapors that shrouded our globe. Ages passed, millions of years. Then in due time, rivers and seas appeared on the face of the earth, and presently the waters teemed with living things. The story of the adventures of the mammalian egg, out of which have come all the higher animals, including mankind. All the children of today and of unnumbered yesterdays, all the poets, all the tyrants, all the philosophers, and all the fools. It is this mysterious prologue to life that we shall attempt to portray in this film.
Arms and legs of ancient Egyptian sculptures are rarely outstretched, but rather remain bonded to the figure. The sturdy sculptural style is directly linked to a desire to prolong and preserve life by creating an effigy to carry the person into the afterlife. The Greeks and Romans were also trying to preserve life within sculpture. Ovid's mythological poem Pygmalion tells the story of a sculptor who was able to carve the likeness of a woman so lifelike he fell in love with her. Enchanted with his own creation, and in a moment of inspiration he named the figurine Galatea, meaning she who is white like milk. He draped over her the finest of cloths, and bedecked her with the most dazzling of ornaments, adorned her hair with the prettiest of flowers, gave to her the choicest of gifts, and kissed her as a sign of adoration. Pygmalion was obsessed and madly in love with his creation. Touched by his deep veneration, Aphrodite went to the workshop of Pygmalion to see this famous statue by herself. When he looked upon the statue of Galatea, she got amazed by its beauty and liveliness. Upon returning home, the master sculptor went straight to Galatea. At first, he noticed a flush on the cheeks of the ivory figurine. Unable to restrain himself, he held Galatea in his arms. What had been cold ivory turned soft and warm, and Pygmalion stood back in amazement as his beloved figurine came into life, smiling at him and speaking words of admiration for her creator.
There it is.
There it is.
There I am.
A modern-day Pygmalion artist, Heather Dewey Hagborg, also captures life within sculpture.
Basically, the software generates kind of the 25-year-old you. Because right now I don't have a way of determining age from the genetic sample.
She extracts DNA, the genetic code of all known living organisms, and retro-renders the subject using three-dimensional printing.
Well, it's like, you know, a little bit, I suppose, like finding a child you didn't know you had, or a brother or something, and what do I look like? Yeah, I see some of me in there. And of course, it's to see something simple, just such a physically, visually beautiful object, based and not inspired by, created by, generated by.
Scientists have replaced 75% of a man's skull with a custom-fitted plastic implant created using the same three-dimensional printing technology. Small details were etched into the surface of the plastic implant to encourage continued natural cell and bone growth. Dr. Harold Gillies is considered to be the father of modern plastic surgery. Between the years 1917 and 1925, he performed 11,000 operations. Gillies introduced the tube pedicle, which used the patient's own tissue to aid reconstructive surgery and reduce the chance of rejection. Many artists across Europe perceived the war as insanity, incarnate destroying humanity, and from these ideas Dada was born.
Otto Dix and other artists perceived these men melded with machine parts as automatons, the only creature able to endure this new brand of modernity. I had worked hard for nearly 2 years for the sole purpose of infusing life into an inanimate body. I had desired it with an ardor that far exceeded moderation, but now that I had finished, the beauty of the dream vanished, and breathless horror and disgust filled my heart. His yellow skin scarcely covered the work of muscles and arteries. Beneath, his hair was of a lustrous black and flowing, his teeth of a pearly whiteness, but these luxuriances only formed a more horrid contrast with his watery eyes that seemed almost of the same color as the dun white sockets in which they were set, his shriveled complexion, and straight black lips.
The synthesis of life, should it ever occur, will not be the sensational discovery which we usually associate with the idea. If we accept the theory of evolution, then the first dawn of synthesis of life must consist in the production of forms intermediate between the inorganic and the organic world, or between the non-living and living world. Forms which possess only some of the rudimentary attributes of life, to which other attributes will be slowly added in the course of development by the evolutionary action of the environment.